So in this video, I'm going to be talking about your prayers will be answered. If you guys just started walking with God, if you start prioritizing your relationship with God, your prayers will be answered. How will you know your prayers will be answered? I want you guys to be aware is that a lot of times when you pray, your prayers are going to be answered, but it's just not going to be answered right away. You're not going to get whatever it is that you're praying for like in a straight second. So whenever we're praying to God, God usually takes his divine timing into position everything and aligning everything in order for your prayers specifically to realize and manifest into reality. I'll give you guys a perfect example of this. I've been praying for my mom to get her a better job because she wasn't really happy with her current job that she was working. She was getting low pay. She was working long hours. She had to work 6 days a week. And it was basically stressing her out. It was tiring her out. And I basically went to God saying that God help my mom get a better job. And I was praying for about, I believe, 5 straight months of prayer every single day. I was praying for my mom every single day to get a better job. And after 5 months of praying for my mom, she basically got an interview about 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, after 5 months of praying, keep in mind, after her interview, she got accepted into a better job, better pay. She didn't have to work as much. She didn't have to work on the weekends. After 5 months of praying, see, that whole timing that I was praying for my mom to get a better job, God was positioning every sort of thing. He was filtering out any job positions that wasn't in her best interest, and he was basically putting everything in order. See, that's how God does it. See, whenever you're praying for something, God usually takes his time, and we have to learn to be patient, because the more you wait, the better you will receive whatever it is that you're praying for. And the beautiful thing with prayer is that it helps us learn to be patient. It is an opportunity to be patient with the Lord. It is an opportunity to learn the virtue of patience, because patience is actually a virtue, okay? The problem is that in this generation nowadays, we just want it right away. We just want the instant gratification. We basically don't know what and how to be patient, okay? It is not in our, patience is not in our vocabulary, okay? And me being part of this generation, Gen Z, or Gen ZA, Gen Alpha, whatever the new slang is when it comes to, you know, the modern day terminology of things, patience is not in our vocabulary, okay? And whenever we are patient, it usually is a good sign that we will receive whatever it is that we're praying for and more, okay? Because don't think that, okay, you know, I prayed for this many months, this many, it could be like a year sometimes. Don't usually think that that's gonna be the end. If you've been patient with the Lord, he's gonna bless you with more. Okay, that's the beautiful thing with God and waiting on God's timing. First, he filters out everything. He positions everything to make it go in our favor, and it basically comes straight to us whenever it is ready for us. It's kind of like putting a pizza. You know how when you order a pizza, we have to wait for them to like put the ingredients all together, then putting the garlic, the oregano, all that stuff, and then having them to put them in the oven, and then we have to wait for it to actually cooks in the oven. And basically, it is something that we need to understand. We need to have God's patience in us, okay? There's something that we have to learn, and we need to have God's patience every single day, okay? If you guys could pray every day, the better. The more you will learn, and the more that God will help you in whatever it is that you are praying for. You might be praying for something to change your overall situation. I'm here to tell you guys that your prayers will be answered, but is on God's timing, okay? I had to learn this the hard way. It was for the best for me. And I'll tell you guys another thing when it comes to prayer. See, there is power behind prayer. There is a lot of power behind prayer. Let's say you've been praying for someone and out of the blue you stopped praying for them. Their life will take a drastic turn. I have prayed for people and I have stopped praying for people. Okay, I've prayed for friends and I've stopped praying for friends, and it makes a huge difference. I'll tell you guys two stories. Okay, so I recently prayed for a friend. He's been going through tough times. I have prayed for him for God to give him peace, mental relief, spiritual peace, for him to get closer to God. And I haven't told him this. I have not told him that I've been praying for him. And one day he's been telling me that, well, we were in a friend group, and then basically he told us that for some reason I feel so much more at peace. I feel so stress-free. And I just kept silent. I didn't tell him I was praying for him, because prayers are usually meant to be private. But if you are praying for someone, if you're praying them for their well-being, be aware that your prayers, those types of prayers will be answered. Because if you pray for someone for their well-being, for them to get closer to God, God will answer those prayers, because that is something that he likes. He likes for you to pray for others, okay? Even for your enemies, okay? And I'll talk more into that later on in this video. When he said that, I just kept silent, and I was saying in my head that, wow, God, you really are answering my prayers. Because I have prayed for my friend for about 2 weeks, and then on those 2 weeks, his life has taken a dramatic change, mentally, spiritually. Okay, I still keep praying for him up to this day. I pray for all of my friends because I want them to have God's peace. I want them to have the spiritual gifts. Because if you have the spirit of truth, if you have the peace that surpasses all understanding, that's not something that you want to hoard all to yourself. If you're someone who is good-hearted and you want to see your friends grow, and if you have God's favor, that's another thing. That is something that you will actually do for others. You will actually pray for others because you want them to see them grow. You want them to have the spiritual gifts, because no amount of money, no amount of wealth can actually buy God's gifts, God's spiritual gifts. The peace that surpasses understanding, the spirit of truth, wisdom. That's not something that you could buy with money. That's something that the Lord rewards you, or something that you ask for the Lord and he will grant it to you. Okay? Only prayer buys those things. No amount of money, no amount of wealth, no amount of materialistic things can actually buy those spiritual gifts. And I'll share with you guys another story, on me praying for someone else. So I've been praying for my boss. He recently got out of surgery. He recently got out of a completely drastic state of mind. He's been telling me, and I told him that I will pray for you, and which I did. Recently, I stopped praying for him, and he's basically been going through a lot. The day that I stopped praying for him, his life has taken a dramatic turn for bad reasons, okay? He's been getting into arguments with other coworkers. He got reported. I won't mention any names, but basically, if you stop praying for someone, and if you're someone who is in God's favor, their life will take a bad turn. And obviously, I didn't wish him bad. It's just because that, something had happened between us that I had to go to another area, and I basically stopped praying for him, and his life has taken a bad turn. I stopped praying for him about 3 weeks ago. And during the time frame between I prayed for him and I stopped praying for him, between that time frame, his life has taken a bad turn. And that goes to show that prayer holds a lot of power. Your prayers will be answered. If you have a close relationship with God, your prayers will be answered, but it's in due timing. Okay, if you're praying for another job, if you're praying for God to remove these certain types of problems, it will be answered. You just got to keep praying, and in due time, in God's timing, it will be answered the way you want it to, and even more. And that's the thing, you guys have to keep praying. I recommend you guys pray daily. That's something that I do, and it changed my life for the better. Okay. Now, when it comes to problems, like let's say like financial problems, you're stressed out, you have so many things that's going on, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders. God won't remove those problems right away, but he will help you, guide you through them. That is something that I don't want you guys to get confused, is that God is not ignoring you. You just got to understand is that it is all due in God's timing. Okay, whatever it is that you're praying for, he will grant that to you in his divine timing. It could take longer than you expect it to be. It could be weeks, it could be months, it could be a year. But if you hold on to faith, there is a verse in the Bible that says, if you want your prayers will be answered, you just got to pray, believe, have faith that it will happen, and it will happen. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Don't think that your prayers are going to be ignored just because it's been a certain amount of time. Don't stop praying. Keep praying. Be patient. Okay? Let God work for you. Let God do his thing. Let God position everything, and let him bless you because of your obedience, because of your patience, and it will work out in the end. Just relax. Just let go. It will all work out for you in the end. Now, I struggle with this sometimes because, I am young. I'm 22 years old. I'm not exactly good with some things when it comes to patience on stuff that I really want out of life. There is a beauty behind leaving all of that stuff to God and learning patience, because patience is a virtue. During the season that you're in, it's an opportunity to get to learn more about God. Get to learn how to be patient in the right way, because you don't want to be patient in a bad way. What is being patient in a bad way? Overly thinking, constantly thinking that God won't answer my prayers, thinking that it won't ever happen or God won't grant it to you just because it's taking longer than you expected. The longer it is, the bigger it is. Okay, the better it is. Let's say if you're praying for a spouse and you're in a season of waiting, God is preparing you for that. Okay, he is positioning everything. He's filtering out the weed in the grass. He's filtering out everything that needs to be in order for you to receive it, for you to be ready to receive it. Okay, because chances are, if it's taking longer than you expect it to be, a lot of times he's trying to prepare you for it. He wants you to be ready for it. If it's something like getting a new job, having a spouse, you may be praying for your family, you may be praying for someone, you may be praying for something to work out, like a business or something. He just wants you to be ready for it. He just wants you to understand is that, listen, my son, this is like God speaking to you. Like this, listen, my son, I am doing everything in my power, but I need you to be ready for it. I need you to be mentally, spiritually, physically prepared for it. That goes to show that waiting for something, taking this opportunity to prepare for the blessing, for your prayers to be answered fully, it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to reflect. It's an opportunity to get closer to God when things get tough, when your faith is getting weary just because you haven't received what it is that you want to receive. It's a test. It's a test of faith. Okay, just when you least expect it, it'll come to you. Don't be discouraged. Just don't lose faith. Don't lose hope on God. In the very end, he will come through to you. He will come through to you when you're most weary, when you're about to fall. When you're about to fall, he will hold your hand and he will pick you back up. I hope you guys have a blessed day. God bless you. I will pray for you, and I will see you guys in the next video.